If you intend driving this pass, it's important to watch part 1 first, which contains the Google Earth orientation tips as well as other important safety and tourism information. After the 4th hairpin bend, the direction is back into the south, and you can now prepare yourself for the steepest section of the pass. The second half of the ascent is very steep, so take it slowly and enjoy the amazing views all around you. The road weaves its way through massive rocks on either side of the road, some of which have been weathered into weird and wonderful shapes. This section of the pass is also referred to as the Kerskop Pass on some maps. The road on this section of the ascent is very narrow, requiring passing vehicles to make a plan. This could mean driving off the road into the bush or reversing back to a wider point. Reversing back is definitely the more eco-friendly option. The gradient on some of the concrete sections is steeper than 1 in 5. Etiquette is for descending vehicles to give way. This is sometimes simply not possible nor practical. Always be courteous and be willing to find a solution with the driver of the other vehicle. At the 4.1 kilometer point, the gradient starts easing off and the concrete gives way once more to a stony jeep track. From this point, the pass is relatively easy from a gradient point of view, but the track remains narrow and the going is slow. Here and there, smaller roads and tracks lead away into the rocks on either side of the road. These all give access to the rooibos tea plantations, so just ignore them. If you really want to get into the true spirit of the Cederberg, you have to try one of the donkey cart trails. The humble donkey is the traditional means of transportation in the rugged Cederberg mountains, and the people of the area used to use their donkey carts to carry their produce to Clan William. There are 2 donkey cart adventure trails available. The shorter one runs between the top of the Pakhuis Pass and the village of Heuningvlei and is called the Heuningvlei Donkey Cart Trail. The longer one is a 3-day and 2-night trail that starts in Wuppertal and ends at the top of the Pakhuis Pass. This one is called the 3-day Donkey Cart Trail. At the 5.1 kilometer point, the road changes direction through 70 degrees to the right in an effort to skirt a small kopje. Here there are some beautifully weathered Cederberg sandstone formations, but beware that the track can get quite sandy in places. If you find yourself getting stuck and you're not in a 4-wheel drive vehicle, you can deflate your tires all the way down to about 0.6 bar, and this will probably get you out of trouble. There are several popular explanations for the name Eselbank. One of these is that a local woodcutter took his donkeys into the extraordinary jumble of rocks behind Eselbank on the eastern slopes of Sneeuwkop. There he was injured by a cedar tree he had felled and, unable to move, cried out in vain for help. His faithful donkeys wouldn't leave him, but took up the refrain with loud, raucous braying. The next morning they were heard by passers-by on the track below. The man was then rescued, and the bank or band of rocks were thereafter known as Eselbank. When you get to the village, there are 2 things that you absolutely must see. One is obviously the waterfall on the northeastern side of town, and the other is the Ereburg or Triumphal Arch. This is an extraordinary rock arch near Eselbank, which is several meters high and wide, and consists of a very insubstantial looking wreath of rock, resembling the intertwined plant stems of a wedding arch. The 71,000 hectare Cederberg Wilderness Reserve, proclaimed in 1973, includes the Cederberg mountain range and is known for its abundant spring flowers and fertile valleys in the surrounding dry landscape, as well as rugged mountainous landscapes. Animal life includes dassies in the rocky areas, small antelope like klipspringers and reedbuck, and mountain zebras. Leopards and caracal also inhabit the Cederberg, whilst raptors float above, scanning the grasslands for small rodents. At the 5.1 kilometer mark, the road changes direction through 70 degrees to the right in an effort to skirt a small kopje and some rooibos tea plantations. Although the gradients are almost imperceptible along this section, the road is in fact still ascending very gently. The views along this plateau section are ever-changing, which makes this a really enjoyable drive. The road now heads directly for a gap in the rocky ridge dead ahead. This little poort is almost always cast in deep shadow, making it quite difficult to see the sharp dip in the middle of the poort. Be sure to watch part 3 and the final video in this series on the Eselbank Pass.